Joseph Johnson is a Peoria man whose calling to serve led to many blessings, leaving an impact that will be felt for generations. Good Wednesday evening. I'm Tyler Lopez.
And I'm Janice Rebholz. In part 2 of Called to Serve, Rashawn Haynes tells us how the bishop changed Peoria County, welcomed women to the pulpit, and woke up to millions of dollars, but decided not to spend a penny on himself.
I lived out of my name that is in the Bible, Joseph. If you ever read the story of Joseph in the Bible, that's me.
In 1958, Joseph Johnson made history by becoming the first black person to work for Peoria County. But he wasn't the last.
I wanted some black friends working in the courthouse. When it was time to go out to lunch, I wanted somebody that looked like me to have lunch with.
So he took action.
I would ask the chief judge, when you're going to hire another black person, we can't find one that is qualified. And I said, why don't you put personnel in my department?
Over the course of 5 years, Joseph hired more than 161 black men, completely integrating the courthouse.
Even if other people didn't like you or didn't think you were qualified, and if he felt you was qualified, he hired you. He made good choices.
After 40 long years, Joseph Johnson retired from the courthouse in 1996, and things began to change.
That part, made a lot of us, kind of upset and bitter.
Male officers could now work with female juveniles and vice versa, eliminating a potential safety net.
I never could understand why would you change something that's not broke.
While working with juveniles, Joseph came in contact with quite a few young men with similar upbringings, so he opened his home and took them in as his own.
I did no more than I would have done for my children or any other child.
His two biological sons, just 5 and 6 at the time, had to learn to share their dad.
Even though there were other people in our lives, we always knew that he loved us.
Their father went on to foster a total of 24 young men.
It really was centered around engaging with young people and pouring back into them.
Joseph also served as a beacon of hope within the church, having mentored several religious leaders.
He was the pioneer that opened the floodgates for women and their acceptance in the ministry.
Here in Peoria, Pastor Frances Keenan is one of over 30 women ordained by the bishop, now pastoring her own church. The bishop has always considered himself to be one of God's chosen people, which led to a whole lot of zeros. While officiating a wedding, the bishop was approached by an unknown woman.
Her husband had died. He left me his stock.
Joseph accepted the stock and didn't touch it for years.
When I cashed it in, it was $2 million. And the Lord said, that's not your money. And I said, yep.
Joseph sent 30 kids to college, bought 33 cars, purchased 12 homes, and more, being a blessing to so many. Out of respect for their privacy, they chose not to share the details of their blessings, but many shared their appreciation on the bishop's last day. His leadership and spiritual guidance will be missed.
It's going to be big shoes to fill.
It's, I'm going to say, challenging for me because he's the only pastor, shepherd, bishop that I've ever known.
It's sad seeing him retire, but at the same time, I'm thankful. I'm just very grateful.
It's up to the congregation of Star of Hope to fill the vacancy.
I'm not choosing no pastor for them.
For now, ministers of the church will preach on Sundays. And in the meantime, Bishop Johnson says he'll worship elsewhere.
After all that he's done, you won't see Bishop Joseph Johnson's face hanging on the walls of the Peoria County Courthouse, honoring him for his impact and good deeds. However, the street where Star of Hope stands was renamed in his honor. But Joseph says he didn't do it for the recognition.
It was not me, it was him that did it through me. He didn't charge me anything.
Though this chapter of the bishop's life has officially come to an end, his work on earth is far from over.
I will always find somebody to help. I will always find somebody's son or daughter to send to college. I will always find somebody to pray for. I'll always find somebody to go to court with. So I'll never quit doing what I was created to do.
That was Rashawn Haynes reporting. Now, the bishop says he will find ways to keep busy adding no job is too small.
He plans to work with senior citizens and return to the courthouse to join families as they and their loved ones face a judge. He also tells us he may end up writing a book.